I use flowers a lot in my art. They're just super cute and easy to do, but I do find that when I draw them, they're a bit simple because I haven't studied them. So that's what we're gonna do. We're going to go and draw 50 flowers and study them a little bit because I do love a nice flower, but I find that my work is a little bit simple. So we're gonna improve on that. Because, you know, as an artist, sometimes you just have to practice things over and over and over again in order to get an improvement. So that's what the goal is with this. I took this book out from the library, and I think I'm actually going to go and buy this book because it's truly very, very useful. And I know you're probably looking at this title and you're like, Amanda, it says 100 flowers and plants. Why are you doing 50? Let me explain. So out of these 100 flowers and plants, 50 of them are plants and they're basically leaves. And I didn't want to focus on that. I really wanted to focus on flowers. So that's why we're only doing 50. Plus 100 is a lot. I'm not built for that yet. Let's just do 50 first. Hi, this is Editing Amanda here. I can't believe I didn't say this, but this book is by Melissa Washburn and it's called Draw Like an Artist, 100 Flowers and Plants. That's it, just letting you know that. Okay, bye-bye. The whole purpose behind this video is to remind you all that if you draw something the first time and it looks like garbage, it's because you need to practice things a lot more. You gotta keep on doing things, be repetitive, and then you will make improvements. I've seen so many sketchbooks of people where they take one subject and they'll fill the entire sketchbook. Like I've seen people draw like an entire sketchbook filled with tigers or an entire sketchbook filled with bunnies or something. And it really shows though that art and drawing is such a repetitive process. It is not done in one sitting. So as you can see with the supplies I showed you, there's no colors. I'm just going for pencils and ink because I think if I had to color all of these, I would lose my mind and I would give up. So I was really focused on just learning the forms of flowers, maybe a little bit of shading practice, but mainly just learning how these flowers are built and how they're formed. I was truly going back to the basics of flowers because my knowledge of flowers is you draw a circle, some petals, a stem, and a leaf, and you're ready to go. But in reality, there's a lot more to flowers, so this was good practice for me. What I really liked about this book was how everything was broken down into very clear shapes because we all know that when you want to sketch and when you want to draw, you should always start with the bigger shapes first and then carve it down. And this book does a really good job of just like laying that out for you because I've seen tutorials where it'll show you step 1 and step 2, but in reality there's like 5 other things that you need to do in between step 1 and 2, so it gets really confusing. But here it was very clear of what I needed to do and it felt very easy. It felt doable, which is very nice. Sometimes I see tutorials and I'm like, this just seems too complicated, but in this book I always felt like I could actually do it. I know a lot of this is probably sounding very like art class 101, like the very basics of knowledge that you need to do this stuff, but I feel like there is people out there who need to hear it. Like I wish I was told this stuff. Like you have to truly just grind, get a pencil, sketch it out, ink it, because it really develops things like your muscle memory, for example. Like if you keep repeating things, it really gives you the training and like the confidence to actually do things. Because if you ask me to draw a flower now, I'd be like, yeah, I can actually draw you a flower and it can actually look okay because I've practiced it a bunch of times. I actually find flowers to be one of the easiest to draw through shapes because if you told me to draw like a bird through shapes, it's a lot more difficult, but with flowers it's definitely more doable. You can actually really see the shapes and imagine it more in your brain. So I wish that I did flowers first, honestly, before I did like my fish and bugs and bird studies, because let me tell you, birds are the most difficult, but flowers, like if I'm gonna recommend this to anyone, if you want to start to learn how to draw, start with flowers because they really just explain like the concept of drawing big shapes and then niching it down. That concept, I understood that's like the most from doing flowers. Okay, so my biggest observation from this project and just learning flowers in general, and the one thing that I think that will elevate my work in the future, is that when you draw flowers, there's just so much potential for variety, and not in like a crazy way, just in little things that you change about it. Maybe you want to add an extra leaf somewhere, you want to add an extra bud somewhere, you change the petal so that the petal is folded over a little bit. Those little things just really elevate your work. They make it look like you know what you're doing. They just make your flowers look like they go from like a 3 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10 just by adding little things that change things around. I've really learned with drawing flowers that you just have to observe them. Each flower is truly so unique. Sometimes they have different petals, they have symmetry, sometimes there's texture differences or the folds in them. And like just being able to slow down and look at those things is so amazing. I catch myself now, like outside, I'm just looking at flowers and I'm like, wow, like flowers are super cool. And like, not to dive into the ego of things, but like if you go out and you're just showing people that you can draw a flower, they think you're so cool. People love when you can draw flowers. It automatically just elevates your status and makes you like the coolest person in the room. So I'm not saying that you should do this because you want to be like cool and boost your ego, but it does help. Being able to draw flowers makes you automatically super cool, in my opinion. I also do find that with flowers, a lot of them don't have perfect symmetry. They have kind of like a loose nature to them. Compare that to like if you're drawing a human, if you draw an eyeball weird, then your whole face is gonna be off. But with flowers, if it's just a little bit off, it's okay. Like, it's very forgiving, so that's why it's great to learn. So here's all the flowers that I did. It was very fulfilling to do this because I do feel like I have built up my confidence in structure of these flowers a lot. Like, I know how a flower is built now. I know kind of the style of them and how to work with that, and so I feel very proud with the work that I've done with this. If you know any other books about drawing plants and flowers, I would love for you to recommend them to me because it was just really nice to just get off my phone and get off of screens and just look at this book and do some drawing. So please recommend me some. I would love to know more because I will be doing this practice again. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.